Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. So it's finally here, the video that you guys have been asking for, and rightfully so. I understand that you guys want to do well in your Ad Maths paper 2. So in this video, I will be talking about the topics that you can expect to be in paper 2, and I will be talking about variant 22, basically paper 2, variant 2. So if you gave the other variant, don't worry, I have a solution for you. But before we get into that, before we get into the topics, let's first talk about paper 1. And again, I'm talking about paper 1, variant 2. So after reading your comments and the DMs and everything over the internet, I noticed that a lot of you didn't do as well as you would have liked in paper 1. So because obviously the paper was difficult, and that's what I would classify the paper as. I wouldn't say that this was an easy paper. I would definitely rank it on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of difficulty level. I would place it somewhere around 7 or 8. Okay, so the good news is that inshallah, let's keep our fingers crossed, let's hope that the threshold is low enough, and you can say that my instinct is that yes, the threshold will inshallah be low enough for you guys to end up with good grades. Okay, because it's not just that a handful of students struggled or complained after the paper. A lot of students complained after the paper that they found it difficult. So my experience tells me that when that is the case, the threshold is usually low enough for students to end up with good grades. Okay, so enough about what's done. Now let's talk about what is left. And even then, I should mention that irrespective of whatever paper 1 was like, don't worry too much about it. It's done now. You can't do anything about it. But what you can do is you can do amazingly well in paper 2 and save your grade. From tomorrow, inshallah, I will be starting live stream as well. So you have that to benefit from. So let's make these 4 or 5 days that we have count, and let's make sure that we all ace the paper. Okay, so now let's talk about the topics that were tested on in paper 12, and through that, like I said, we'll anticipate the topics that you can be tested on in paper 2. Now, if you gave the other variant, then like I said, I have a solution for you. I'll upload a blank document, which has only the topics and the sub-concepts, and you can cross out the topics that you were tested on, and whatever is left, you can expect that in paper 2. Okay, now, so let's start with the main topics first. So I have trigonometry over here. So trigonometry is usually divided into 3 parts. You have the graphs, you have the identities, you have the equations. Now, my understanding is there was a question on graphs, so you can expect, you can expect graphs to not come in paper 2. Okay, and then there was a small question on identity. So I would classify that as partially tested. So you can expect like a proper question on identities in paper 2. And there was a question on equations, so I'm not expecting it to come again. But while you're doing identities, it's a good idea to go over equations as well. Okay, and then interestingly enough, there was no differentiation. There was no rates of change, no small change, no stationary maximum, minimum value, no equation of tangent normal. So you can expect paper 2 to be full of differentiation. That's what I'm expecting. And then let's talk about integration. So there was a question on area under the curve, but there was no question on equation of the curve. And just like that, there was no hence find question, where you're asked to differentiate a certain function. And then through that, you're asked to find the integral of a certain function, certain function. So you can expect something like that. Okay, then let's talk about functions. Now, there was a question on ln, where you had to find out the range, and you also had to make a graph and its inverse. And there was a question on composite function, and also there was a question on modulus function. In fact, modulus was divided into regular modulus and then a polynomial, a cubic function, which you then had to find the equation of, and the graph was given of the absolute function. Yeah. So since that's already tested in paper 1, so I'm expecting like a quadratic functions type of question in paper 2. Okay, now let's talk about all the other topics. So starting with APGP, there was a question on APGP. So I'm pretty sure that no question of APGP is going to come in paper 2. And just like that, there was a question on circular measure also. Logs also has already been tested, but usually logs is so extensive that you can expect another question, which kind of leads to logs. You know how when you solve equation which uses the rules of indices, and then it leads to us applying logs. So you can expect something like that in paper 2. Like I said, because the topics is so extensive, even if it's tested in paper 1, we can't say for sure that it's not going to come in paper 2. Okay, then kinematics, again, no kinematics. So you can have like a question mixed up with differentiation. Kinematics is already about differentiation integration, so they might even mix it up with that. And then apparently there was no question on linear law, so you can expect linear law in paper 2. Vectors also. Binomial theorem, Again, surprisingly, no question on binomial theorem, so you can expect it to be tested in paper 2. Quadratics, so I'm talking about discriminant over here. I'm talking about sketching sketching a quadratic curve, and also inequality. You know how sometimes the question is such that you apply the discriminant, which then leads to a quadratic inequality, or sometimes you have a question where you straight away have to solve a quadratic inequality. So I'm expecting something like that in paper 2. Coordinate geometry, so I'm definitely expecting a thorough question of coordinate geometry in paper 2. Maybe they might end up linking it up with some other topic. I don't know. Let's see what happens. But yeah, this is definitely a topic that you need to focus on. And then you have polynomials. Now I'm talking about remainder and factor theorem over here. You know how where you have a cubic equation and you are not given the entire equation, maybe some coefficient of x squared or x cubed maybe is missing, and you're given like a factor, and you're given like what expression gives what remainder, and you have to solve the equations. You have to make two equations, solve them simultaneously, and find out the unknowns. And then permutations and combinations, even though permutation and combination has been tested in paper 1, but I'm still expecting those questions where you have to find out the value of n, where you basically evaluate n, c, some value without a calculator. So I'm expecting something like that to come in paper 1. And I don't know why I've written binomial theorem twice, so let me just cross that out. But yeah, topics that I haven't mentioned over here, simultaneous equation can like pop up anywhere, okay? And then just like that, I haven't mentioned surds. So surds is something that, even though there was a question on quadratic and surds, but it's still something that you might have to deal with, maybe in differentiation, maybe in integration, okay? So just be mentally prepared for that. And overall, I think we have narrowed it down. And now the ball is in our court. We have to make sure that we absolutely ace paper 2. So like I said, I'm with you guys till the end of the line. That's a line from Captain America. But yeah, so there will be inshallah plenty of live streams to help you guys. I'm going to try and make sure that so for example, topics like kinematics, I've already done a live stream on, and topics like vectors also I've done a live stream on. So I'm not sure if I'll be streaming those again, but topics that I haven't done a single live stream on so far, like linear law, like polynomials and quadratics. So these are the topics that I'm going to be focusing on, but there's plenty of content already on the channel to help you guys. Like I said, the ball's in your court now, and we have to make sure that we ace paper 2. So that's it for this video. I hope this video helped you guys. You guys can download this file from the link in the description. So I'll see you on the live stream. Until then, take care. Allah Hafiz.